Hey, friends, I have some brand new autumn inspiration, crafts, and creations to share with you today. Guys, my name is Tracy. I love sharing crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm, just like today's projects. I am teaming up with my friends Jen and Linda today, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more later. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. These are my gingham autumn flowers with rustic base, and I'm also going to be making a tag. I absolutely love how these autumn flowers turned out, and so let me show you how I did them. Now, what I'm starting with is I'm going to show you what I'm going to use, but first I wanted to mention that the like mason jar rings and the lids work really good, but I'm going to be using some shower curtain rings that I got this package over at Dollar Tree. But those mason jars, the rings, I had used those from summer when I made the Primitive Country Americana project. I had done these flowers for the first time, and so I will link to that video if it's something that you are interested in. All right, guys, so what I did is I just took one of those plastic shower curtain rings. I glued the end shut so that it would, give me the full circle. And so then now I'm going to be tying on some gingham fabric. Now, this orange gingham fabric came from jubileefabric.com, and the brown came from Hobby Lobby. So what I did, guys, is I just took my ruler and kind of laid it out. Then I am going everywhere there is the 1 inch, because that is what I put a little notch in to tear off my gingham fabric to make my ties. Now, when I tear them off, I do that because I like the ripped edges and I don't mind the strings. I just cut off what I don't want. You could definitely cut them with scissors, or if you have pinking shears, that gives a really nice finish touch to that. And so here I am left with these strips of the gingham fabric. And so what I'm going to do to kind of help myself a bit, I just took the time to just take my little iron. This is just my Cricut Easy Press. I just press those out just to give it a little, so they're a little bit more straight, and that my flower petals laid a little more nicely. To tie my fabric onto my ring, I am doing it like a lark's knot that people use for macrame. And so what I have here are my strips of fabric. I fold it in half, and then I am going a certain way. I flip over, and then I pull my ends of my fabric through the center, and then that gives me the knot on top. And so depending on if you want your knot on the front or if you want it on the back will depend on how you position your fabric on to whatever ring you are using. And so what I do is, again, I am now going to measure out about 2 inches, because that is what I'm going to do to cut it so that it looks really, really nice. And that is how my petals, I guess, are looking on my ring flower. So again, what I do is I fold it in half, and then I go along the ring, and then I pull the bottom through the fabric, and then I tighten it, and then it gives me a knot there on the front, and then I just kind of position it how I like it to lay really nicely. And then again, I measured out my petals about 2 inches, and then I'm just taking my pinking shears because that kind of gives it a really nice jagged edge, and I'm going to cut those off, and so that they are all the same. Now, I have practiced, on some other florals, and I cut them all at the end. I just like it better if I cut them as I go along, because I kind of it kind of gives me more of the finished look. The longer ones kind of drive me crazy, but to each its own, whatever works good for you or whoever is creating these cute little autumn flowers. So I end up with 24 pieces of gingham fabric on this shower ring, and then that is the size that I like for my little flowers. Now I'm going to add a little bit of stiffening, and I'm going to use my Stiffen Quik spray. You can get this anywhere, like fabric and stuff are sold in the fabric department, or it is listed in my Amazon storefront because I do use it a lot in my crafting. Now, for the center of my flowers, what I'm going to use is this brown fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby, and so I am going to use one of those toppers, from the mason jar from that pack that I got from the Goodwill. And so what I did is I just cut off a strip of that, and then I'm folding it in half because I want to round the edges just a bit. And so I'm going to use some fabric fill stuffing just to kind of give it a little bit of poof in the center. So then I'm just going to glue that on, and then I'm going to just kind of cut that fabric all the way around so that I can glue the brown fabric nicely where it looks really nice around the edge of the ring. And I find that my little masking tool that I got from the Dollar Tree works really good and helps prevent some burned fingers. So once I get my little center of my flower finish, I'm just taking my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo, that's my favorite ink, and I just have a little finger dauber. It has a little sponge on the end, and so I'm just going around the center of the flower, just giving it a little bit of definition. I will also add a little bit of distress ink to my flower itself, going around the center, and then just kind of give a little bit of it along the petals. Nothing too precise or anything, just to give it a little bit of distressing. Before I add the stem, I'm going to make a sisal twine bow. Now, this sisal twine came from Hobby Lobby, so I just make 3 loops, 6 loops all together, 3 on each side. Just make just a shoestring bow. Just tie that off in the center, put it to the side. Now, for the stem, what I'm using are these barbecue skewers that I picked up at a local grocery store several years ago. They're a little bit more flat, and I like them a little bit better than just the regular round skewers. And so what I'm going to do is I have this 1.5 inch ribbon. I like the olive color. So I'm just going to be wrapping that around the stem of my barbecue skewer. And so that is going to be the green part for my flower. To attach the stem to my flower, I am just going to be gluing that on there, and then just to kind of finish it off, I have just a piece of cardstock, just craft colored cardstock, and then I just used a 3-inch hole puncher that has a scalloped edge. It is a Paper Shapers hole punch. It's just one that I've had on hand in my stash. Decided to use it, and so I just glue that there to the back, just so that everything looks really nice and finished. Now, for kind of like the flowers or like the top bow for my little flower here, I just took a piece of that 1.5 inch green ribbon, just cut that off on the edges, just diagonaled the edges just to make it look really nice and finished. And then to attach it, I'm going to be using some fine Excelsior. I get this over at Hobby Lobby, so I'm going to be using some of that and just kind of pile fill it up or just kind of be building up my leaves, and I'm going to be using some orange and white pit berries that I got from the fall section over at Hobby Lobby. Be adding some of those. I put on my sisal twine bow and just kind of build up the bottom of my flower until it looks the way that I want it. For the rustic base, I have this tin can. It is a vegetable can. I rinsed it out, ran it through my dishwasher. Then now I'm going to give it a coat of cashew chalk paint. And then for my wooden sticks, I have these giant craft sticks. I got this pack over at Walmart. And so I'm just going to cut off the ends of it and then figure out how tall I need them to go around my can, measure them off, and then I just have a pencil. I'm just going to be cutting, measuring those, and then just cutting those off with my scissors, and had really good luck. These did not crack at all. And so once I get all of those done, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this I'm going to be giving them some antique wax, and that is by Waverly. I just use my baby wipe just to give it a stained look, and that's what I needed. I needed 9 of these giant craft sticks to go around this particular vegetable can. For a little bit more definition and rusticness, I'm just taking my vintage photo distress ink, going around each of the little slats just to give it a little bit more definition. And then I'm just using my stencil brush and white paint, just giving it a dry brushing on each one of the little slats. Now, to attach them to the can, I'm just using my Tight Bond glue as well as hot glue. Just putting that glue there in the middle down the little slat, and then attach that all the way around. And again, I used 9 of these sticks on this particular can, but depending on the width of your can will depend on how many sticks one might need. And I absolutely love the way that this turned out. I have done many projects with these little giant craft sticks, and I love the rustic just distress look of all of those. All right, so then to add some weight for my can, I have this bag of rocks that I got over at the Dollar Tree. Add a little bit of those in there just for some weight because I don't want my can to tump over. And so then I'm just cutting down some styrofoam just to fit in there. And then that is what I'm going to be sticking in my autumn gingham flowers, as well as some other just filler bushes, flowers, just some autumn goodness for this cute little arrangement. Now I'm also going to use some fine Excelsior. I love fine Excelsior. It is one of my staples in my country crafting. And again, I get this over at Hobby Lobby. And these whimsical little filler bushes I got over at the Dollar Tree. I added a few more pip berries, and again, these orange and cream colored pip berries came from the fall section over at Hobby Lobby. Then for the raffia bow, I just tied strands of raffia around the can. Now, I like the raffia that is from Walmart right now in their floral section. So for the tag, what I did is I have these tea stain tags that I have a whole bunch of them that I've tea stained, many years ago, and so then I pull them out and use one when I want to do a project. Now these clear stamps, they're like a daisy stamp, and I'll put the name of the stamp set that I'm using on the screen. I have no idea where I got it from or if you can even find it, but sometimes people want to know, and I always get questions or messages for certain things. So I'll just tell you where I got that from. So what I'm going to do is, just stamp just with the black ink, just stamp around, just giving it just some character. Then I just take my black marker. This is a Sharpie marker, the chisel marker, and just hand lettered autumn. I just give it a little bit of just extra highlight with my cream color of paint and all of that good stuff. I go around the edges just with my vintage photo distress ink and do all of that goodness. And so then to attach it to my flower arrangement, I just took a rusty safety pin and actually just pinned it through one of those fall leaves that are in the arrangement, just stuck it there, and I absolutely love the way that this little arrangement turned out. Now, I decided to make a small arrangement, but I have so many other ideas to do with these autumn gingham flowers, and of course, they are just, you could just change up the fabric and for different seasons, occasions, all of that good stuff. These gingham autumn flower bowl fillers are a little bit smaller version, and what I did is I took some of this rope that I had on hand in my stash. I think I got this like at Tractor Supply or something like that, and what I did is I cut off a piece of it, and then I held it together, glued it, and then just to reinforce it just a tad, I am just taking some washi tape. I was looking for my floral tape, but I couldn't find it, so I settled with some washi tape just to kind of hold it a little bit together like that. So what I did is I did the same thing as I did with the larger flowers is I tied on the strips of fabric around the rope, and then what I'm going to do for the center is I am using the top of a little can that I'm recycling. This can is a tomato paste can, and so I like this size can just for different recycling purposes. And so I said, well, I think that would make a perfect center base. And so that's what I did. I did the same thing as I did with the larger flowers by cutting a piece of that brown fabric and then just using my distress ink, just going around and giving it a little bit of distressing just to give it a little bit of color on there. Then I'm just going to be gluing that there to the center and really just making these look really cute. Now to add a little bit more pizzazz, I am taking my adhesive spray and some glitter and just adding a little bit of spray to that and then sprinkling on a little bit of glitter, and those just turned out so pretty. I love this smaller version as well, and I absolutely love bowl fillers for the fall season. And that leads me into my Harvest Delight pocket bowl fillers using some prints from my friend Summer over at Hammons Nest. I printed these on just some white cardstock, and then I'm going to cut out the 4 large ones because I'm going to make like some pockets on them or for them. And then that's what I thought I was going to use some brown bags as my pockets. But as I get into this a little bit further, I realized that I'm just going to use some craft colored cardstock and just make my pockets with that. So I trim those off, and then I'm going to save those other small little tags for another project. And I took my favorite Distress ink in Vintage Photo and I went around the edges and gave it a little bit more distressing the way that I like. Then I used my distressing tool and I went around the edges of that just to give it a little bit more aged and more jagged look to my little tags here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the tags then to the cardstock. So I have this brown craft cardstock that I've had on hand in my stash, and I folded it in half and I got 2 pockets out of one piece of 8.5 by 11. And then I'm going to go ahead and tear around the edges because I like the aged, ragged look. And so then once I get that done, then I also go back and add a bit of Distress ink in Vintage Photo around the edges of it just to make sure the whole project ties all in together. Then I find that hot glue works really well just to glue these closed, leaving the open at the top so that I could put in some stuffing. And so once I get the amount of stuffing in there that I want, then I go ahead and glue that shut as well. Once it's all kind of together, then just a little added interest, I used a Rusty safety pin just there in the corner. I just used my little paper piercing poking tool just to kind of get it started and then just kind of attached it there on the side. Now for additional, I like glitter, and so I just added a little bit of just some adhesive spray and then some crystal fine glitter. This is the Martha Stewart brand. I have like a whole pack of different colors, and I absolutely love this crystal fine, kind of almost white iridescent looking color, and I just love the way that it just adds a pop of shimmer to my Harvest Delight bowl fillers, and they just complement my little autumn gingham flowers so well. I absolutely love bowl fillers for the fall season, for any time throughout the year, but especially for the fall season. Friends, I'm hoping that you are getting some inspiration for the fall season. Guys, today I'm teaming up with my beautiful friends Jenn from Mother Time and Linda from Linda's DIY by Design. I love teaming up with these very creative ladies. There will be a playlist very easy for you to find in our description boxes, as well as I will put it at the end of the video so that you can click on it. You can see all of our videos. If you're not already subscribed to these wonderful ladies' channels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are coming over from one of their channels and this is your first time seeing me, thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you enjoy what you see. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get to the rest of the video. This Harvest Market floral decor piece is using this beautiful autumn market pumpkins with the truck on it. Now this print is from Jenn over at Mother Time, and she is participating in this collaboration today. Now, guys, let me tell you what I did. I went over to Mother Time, shopped her printables, and found the one that I wanted, went ahead and downloaded it, and printed it out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And so that is going to be the focus of this beautiful floral arrangement. Now, what I did, guys, what I'm using is a recycled Amazon bag. Now, I had got something in the mail and I was like, well, this is too good to throw away, so I can go ahead and recycle this. So I've had it in my stash for a little while, and so decided that this would be the perfect time to use this. Now, this print, again, like I said, is from Jenn over at Mother Time. I will have a link for it in the description box. Printed it out on 8.5 by 11, just on white cardstock. And what I'm going to do is just rip around the edges just to give the jagged edge. I love how it has the distressing look on it already. And then to add a little bit more color the way that I like, I'm just taking my Vintage Photo Distress ink and just going around the edges and giving it some color on that as well. I put this on some just fall print scrapbook paper that I had on hand, and just using my adhesive tape glider, just attaching that to the scrapbook paper, then trimming it off the size that I want it. Now, to give it a little bit more aged look, I took my distressing tool and went around the edges of that scrapbook paper just to have it all look very rustic, the way that I like it. And then to kind of take it up a notch, I am going to use some little pins. I think these are like upholstery pins, little that you can find like in the fabric section. And at first I thought I may use some buttons, but I decided not to use the buttons. I'm just going to use the little upholstery tacks, and just to add to the corners of my sign, just for a little added interest. Now, the upholstery tacks, they have a little sharp edge on it where it kind of sticks in, but I went ahead and just took my cutters and just cut that off. And then to attach it, I just poked a hole with my paper piercer, and then just added some Titebond glue just to glue everything down and just make sure that it all stayed. And now, since this is mostly paper, I am just going to have this inside my home just to kind of, have it for the season. Like I said, since this is paper, it wouldn't do well outside with all of the weather elements. To fill my bag, I wanted to have a little substance at the bottom, a little filler stuff. So I pulled out some tissue paper, and then also I have some plastic bags. Just gonna stuff that there in the bottom. I don't want anything too heavy because this is going to be I'm going to be hanging on a hook. And so once I get kind of the filler the way that I want it, then I just have this styrofoam that I've had. This is also listed in my Amazon storefront. I found where I can get them in bulk and not have to buy them individually over at the Dollar Tree or Walmart. I'll leave a link for that in the description as well. Then before I put in my florals, I want to make sure and put some holes in the side because I'm going to be using some rope, just some jute rope. Now, this is a 4-ply jute rope that I get over at Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to be tying that off so that it gives me a very nice hanger. Now, for the florals, I have a lot of different fall florals that came mostly from Hobby Lobby. I have some of these filler bushes from Dollar Tree. These cute rustic pumpkins, like burlap pumpkins, came from Hobby Lobby. The white berries also came from Hobby Lobby. Most of them are from Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to stick those in there, just kind of arranging them the way that I want them. And it looks all really, really nice. Now, for the small rag bow, I'm just taking just some strips of fabric. Now, I got most of this fabric. I got it either from JubileeFabric.com or Hobby Lobby, and then I'm just tying that off and ripping it off rather because I like the ragged edges. I make a sisal twine bow. That sisal twine came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to attach that there to the side. And this upcycled project just turned out so cute.